All right, let's continue talking about the barbell. So there's really two main sides when I think about the barbell, obviously. So you've got the reliable side, and you've got the asymmetric bets to the upside. That's how we refer to it. When I think about the reliable side, I describe it as your sweet spot. If you know me, I love acronyms. So the sweet spot is a way to kind of think through, am I aligned with that side? So sweet spot stands for simple. Oftentimes we think I think this is very fear based. It was for me that doing more things or serving a larger group of people will somehow give us a better chance at finding success. And maybe at the very beginning of the process of getting into business, like you do have to try some things. Let me just be clear on that. Dr. Jeff calls this a soft offense. I sort of describe it as like playing Jenga. When you're playing Jenga, you'd be a really bad Jenga player if you just walked up there and started mashing at blocks. That's just not how you play Jenga. You go and you tap on all the different blocks, you find the one that's loose and you pull that one. So I'm a huge advocate actually of that at the beginning of people's entrepreneurial career. In fact, I would not have found the things that I am good at, the things that I have a passion for, had I not tried a bunch of things. So for one, I think give yourself permission to try a bunch of stuff at the beginning. You got to know that there's trade-offs to that. The trade-off is it might take longer for you to press on some of these blocks, find the one that really aligns with your sweet spot. And the trade-off is that it may take a little longer, but I think it's going to give you the best opportunity to really find that sweet spot. And so over time, you try all these different things. Then you got to simplify this stuff down. You got to have a simple message. Who are you serving? That, almost I would say, the more narrow you can be, the better. So like, for example, on my construction company, we don't serve anybody who wants to come to us to have us renovate their house, their kitchen, their basement, their bathroom, whatever. We're catering to a certain type of client. There's certainly cheap contractors, there's middle of the road contractors, and there's high end contractors. And we're gearing towards a certain level. We want to work with folks who are willing to pay for the service that is required, I think, to do good work in the construction business. So we just had to get narrower and narrower and narrower over time. It means throwing fish back, which can be like sort of, I don't know, hard to do at first. And ultimately, it's just required. If you want to have a reliable business, you've got to get clear on a simple message. What is that message? Who do you serve at a really high level? So the S is simple. The W in sweet spot is well paid. Again, I know myself included. I did this for years. You're spending all this time, you're investing every single dollar back into your business, trying to scale, and grow at all costs. But here's the thing. One of our members, Tom Farrar, said this a long time ago, and it's just always rung in my head that money's like water. When you don't have it, it's hard to think about much else. So you've got to make sure that reliable side of your business is actually helping you fund the lifestyle that you want. Now, that may not happen on day one, may not happen on day 100 or even day 1000, but the goal is to try to get that side of the barbell to fund the life that you want on your terms and on your timeline. Again, a lot of this comes back to what we call the solvable problem, which we'll add in. We've got videos on that. That is a framework that I got from one of my mentors, Dan Nicholson. In fact, I wrote a chapter in a book with him where I describe what the solvable problem is. And for now, we'll just sum it up again to be what you want on your terms and on your timeline. So thank you, Dan, for that framework, because again, I think it's really easy to chase more and more and more. So when I talk about well paid, what I mean by that is, how much money do you need to live the life that you want? My experience is like, I think a lot of us want to make a lot of money. We want to have a really high ceiling. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about, where is your floor? What is the amount of money you need each and every year? I'm also not a big fan of talking in terms of monthly cash flow, because I think that can take us out of the larger picture. It's like, if you need 250 grand a year to live the life that you want. I mean, yeah, $20,000 a month gets you there, but so does $250,000 on January 1st, right? It's the same thing. So in general, I think about well paid is trying to get that side of the bar to solve your floor. The ceiling will take care of itself on the other side of the bar. So you've got to know that number. That goalpost has a tendency to move over time, which is okay, right? As you continue down life, things come up, like you get married, you have kids, you want to, upgrade your lifestyle, and all that's fine. I'm not saying you shouldn't do those things. I'm just saying get clear on the number. Mine happens to be $500,000 a year. Certainly could live less than that. Certainly would take more than that, but I think my wife and I have decided, like, if we can make that amount of money each and every year, it'll allow us to fund the house that we want, the vacations that we want, eating out, all the things that we like to do. So you got to get clear on that. The next letter in SWEET is E. So we have two E's, and the first one is easy, as I like to say. Again, this is another kind of framework I borrowed from Dan Nicholson, and he talks about really playing your game. When I think about easy, I don't think about doing nothing. I think about finding the thing that you enjoy doing that is like playing your game. And for example, I'm not someone who is a heavy operator. I don't enjoy doing all that. What I like to do is sell. I enjoy selling. And so what I find is, like, as I'm designing this business, I'm trying to put myself in a position where it's a light lift for me. It's easy in the sense that it might be hard for somebody else to sit there and do sales. Some people are wired differently. But I'm designing my business so that I can stay in the lane that I want, which is sales. So when you think about easy, like it's like a feel thing. Does it feel light? Does it feel heavy? If you're doing things constantly every single day where it's just heavy work, you're not playing your game. You're not in your zone of genius. It's a recipe to stay in the middle of the bar. You're going to be white knuckling. You're going to feel burned out. So over time, we want to get that business to be aligned with what's a light lift for you, and it should feel easy to you. So play your game, I think, is what we're trying to say there. Figure out what your game is, design a business around playing your game. And again, another example of this was as I was building a business in the wholesaling and the flipping space, first thing I did was went and hire a bunch of salespeople. And I was wondering why I didn't enjoy what I was doing. It's like because you're not in the position where it's a heavy lift for you managing people and operating this business. I need to design businesses so that I can play my game. And again, I know what that is. It's sales. So everybody's going to be different, but you've got to design that sweet spot around really what's a light lift for you. The second E is efficient. And this is just a short way of saying don't run a race against yourself. If you've got leaks in your bucket, you got to figure out how to plug those. We have a tendency to push for more and more and more. But what I've sort of learned over the years is that your business will grow as you get better. So it's a shift. Everybody wants to grow their business. Everybody likes this idea of scaling their business. But it's that mindset towards more, which can cause massive amounts of inefficiencies. So when I think about what we do on a daily basis inside of my service-based companies, it is all designed to how do we get better at what we're doing? How do we serve the client better? How do we refine our systems and our processes? And that process of continuous improvement and getting better every single day, becoming more efficient with the resources that we have. My business is growing. So I'm a huge advocate for, instead of focusing on scaling your business, you focus on getting better every single day and your business will naturally grow. So again, the goal of that side is to focus on efficiency, using the resource. We're not Fortune 500 companies. We don't just have unlimited time, money, energy, attention, all these things. So we've got to use them efficiently. And sometimes that means adjusting as you grow. What works at one level doesn't always work at the next level. And you got to reallocate those very valuable currencies that we have in small business to be as efficient as possible. I think that goes without saying. The last letter in SWEET is T, and that stands for thriving. And so I think I can oftentimes tell when people are in their real sweet spot because they're happy, they're healthy, their relationships are strong, they're present with their kids, they're present with their spouse. They, I think, yeah, they're just thriving in all different areas. They're growing, they're prospering. And if you feel again like, business is just this constant grind, it doesn't mean that, how do I say this? It doesn't mean you get to opt out of the hard work to build a business. That's not what I'm suggesting. But there's a very important component of finding your sweet spot, which is like, are you actually happy? Are you healthy? Are you being present with your relationships? So to me, that's a huge measure of finding reliability in your life. I don't care how much money you make. If you are a drunk, overweight, absent from your family, I mean, none of us want those things, right? So we've got to keep that in check. We've got to keep that at the top of our mind. So again, to recap, when I think about a reliable business, it's simple. You're being paid well. It's an easy and a light lift for you. You're playing your game, not somebody else's game, not some course you read off the internet or something like this, or a business that was a product of, a previous market environment. Again, sometimes we have to adjust to get that sense of ease, and it comes from playing your game. We want efficient businesses because we don't have unlimited resources. These are valuable resources we want to use efficiently. And then lastly, we want to be thriving. We want to be happy, healthy, contributing members to society and to our communities and to our families and things like this. So step one in the barbell approach is not to go after bigger and better deals. You've got to build that reliable sweet spot first. That's a measure of how you determine what that is. Keep that acronym top of mind, and we'll talk about asymmetric bets.